Hi, Jakob Stief here, the long-haired freaky dude. Today I'm going to review Iphigenia among the Tauris by Euripides, translated into English by Edward P. Coleridge. This play, I feel, was just as shocking to me as it was to Orestes. It deals with a legend that I had no knowledge of and went completely against everything that I had ever read about. And this sort of gave it a certain lack of meaning, but it was still a very good play. So the typical line of mythology goes that Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, killed his daughter, sacrificed his daughter Iphigenia, in order for good luck in his battle at Troy. One thing leads to another. His wife Clytemnestra kills her to avenge, but not really, her daughter Iphigenia. Her son Orestes kills her to avenge Agamemnon. Well, anyways, Orestes has been banished from Mycenae because of matricide, and he is now roaming the shores of the Tauri, which is modern-day Crimea. Which, if you've read Herodotus, you'll know that this area was controlled by the Scythians, not the most friendly kinds of people. Chances are they want to make napkins out of you. Well, we find out that Iphigenia is actually alive and that she is the queen of the Tauri. It turns out she was snatched from the sacrifice under the knife by the gods and was replaced by something else to be sacrificed which looked like her. She was alive this whole time, and no one knew. And that's the radical line of mythology that I had never heard before. And something which I find interesting is, of course, a description of her hair, which is just such a common thing discussed amongst the Agamemnon children in all of the Greek literature. They all have the same hair. That's how you can tell if someone's a child of Agamemnon. They got the same hair. I shall never bring thee to thy tomb, my golden locks. So Orestes and his really fantastic friend Pylades arrive on the shore of the Tauri, and of course they're brought to the queen to be sacrificed. The queen Iphigenia, upon hearing that they are from parts of Greece that she came from, she begins asking them many questions about the state of her family, of course not revealing her true relation to the family. Nor is Orestes revealing his true relation to the family because he's feeling so much grief for killing his mother. So they go on this ironic conversation about their same family, not knowing that they are siblings. Just lots of dramatic irony in this play. And there was lots of dramatic irony in this play's predecessor, Iphigenia among the Aeolus. Iphigenia eventually promises to let one go so long as he will go to her homeland and send a message to someone in her family. Then she will of course slay the other person, the person who has to stay behind. She wants Orestes to go, but Orestes tells her to save Pylades and kill him instead. Now Pylades of course hates this idea, but he eventually gives in and accepts. So being a tragedy, I thought that Iphigenia was going to tragically and ironically kill her own brother without knowing it. Iphigenia then recounts the nature of her letter. And this scene was absolutely hilarious. I mean, this was clearly meant to draw a laugh from the crowd. I mean, I was laughing when I was reading it. This is just comic gold right here. Iphigenia reveals to Pylades that she is Iphigenia, the sister of Orestes, and that Orestes is her brother. And she wants Pylades to deliver this message that she is still alive to her brother Orestes. So Pylades, upon hearing this, just takes the letter from her, says that he could do the deed, walks a few feet across the room, and gives it directly to Orestes. There, I have delivered your letter, Iphigenia. I was rolling on the floor. I think that's the funniest moment in all of these Greek tragedies. That was great. I did not expect that. So now they all want to go back to their homeland in Greece and live happily ever after, but Iphigenia's husband, the king, will not be too happy about this, about her leaving, so now they have to devise a plan to sneak off the island. Well, this is not really an island. I mean, Crimea is sort of attached to things. The land, Tauri, that's where they want to escape from. And while they're making their escape, in the end we get Euripides' favorite tool, a deus ex machina from Athena, and she divinely tells the king not to pursue Iphigenia. Or Orestes or Pylades for that matter. In this, we get a very, very happy ending. A family member thought dead is reunited, and through the use of deception and the Deus Ex Machina, they escape persecution. In these ways, the play is also very similar to the play Helen by Euripides, which is also a story of a family member thought missing, and then she's discovered, and then they escape the land that she is enslaved to. It was a pretty good story, very happy, very funny, and there were also a few things for me to think about as well. Iphigenia was so remorseless and so ready to kill visitors because she thought she was just angry. She thought that her brother Orestes was dead. The unfortunate, having once known prosperity themselves, bear no kind feelings to their luckier neighbors. A person who has known prosperity for a long time and then falls into hard times deals with these hard times much worse than someone who has had to deal with them, had to live through them for a lot of their life. In things divine as well as human, confusion reigns. Confusion, uncertainty is imminent. Not even the gods can be certain. The world, it's a chaotic place. 'Tis only one cause of grief when a man, through no folly of his own, but from obeying the dictates of prophets, is ruined. As ruined he is in the judgment of those who know. I think this really helps understand the type of woe which is so typical to Greek stories. People feeling ruined by a prophecy or lied to. By having knowledge of his future, of his fate, he feels utterly helpless whenever things don't go as they were foretold. Pylades offers some sort of help in this situation. Misfortune at her worst sometimes admits a thorough change. Again, something that especially applies to the Greek theme of prophecy. Almost always, according to their beliefs, prophecies will go as foretold. Unless the pithiness has been paid by the Athenians to deceive the Lacedaemonians. But anyways, people lose faith in prophecies, and then they will almost always come true. Orestes should have learned this from his ordeals in the play with Menelaus, Helen, and Hermione in the play Orestes. Pylades hasn't forgotten. But Orestes has given up on the gods once again. I just don't know what they see in this man. He doesn't see anything in them. And then it's funny, at the end of this play, the king of the Tauris says something about this Deus Ex Machina, this divine intervention. Whoso heeds the voice of God and disobeys is no sane man. This almost makes this Scythian king appear more sane than Orestes. For at least he obeys a god when he's standing right in front of his face, where Orestes does not. At one point, Iphigenia says something that would probably make Socrates roll over in his mother's womb. Because, he hasn't been born yet. But anyways, I am the slave of necessity, whose law I must observe. That kind of makes me sad. She just goes along with what the law says is right, rather than what she thinks in her heart is right. But it brings up a good question. What do we do in these cases where something comes up that we think is right, but the law doesn't necessarily think is right? What do we do? Feel free to discuss in the comment section below. And just two random things from Orestes. Thy question embraces everything at once. Sometimes broad questions aren't the best. Sometimes they're overwhelming. Sometimes you just need to take things step by step. Like in law. Objection. It's a compound question. Objection. This question needs foundation. Darkness is the robber's day. Meaning is pretty obvious. I just like the quote. I think it's poetic. Well, that is my review of Iphigenia among the Tauri. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you like reading things like this, literature, history, math, or science, then might suggest checking out the Great Books Challenge. I'm sure it is something that you would love to do. If you want to see other things other than book reviews, like cooking tutorials, how to use a typewriter, headbanging to classical music, then might suggest checking out my channel and hitting the subscribe button. There will be many great videos in the future. Well, I'm Jakob Stief, the Long-Haired Freaky Dude. Thank you for watching this book review. See you in the next video. Have a great day.